Well, it's New Year's Eve, 2009, and Cheryl and I are at the heliport between Queen Charlotte and Skidegate Landing on Graham Island in Haida, Gwaii. And we're about to board this helicopter to head to the airport at Sanspit to catch our plane back to Vancouver. We will talk a little later on about how we ended up in this situation. Right now we're just about to take off. We've loaded our stuff and Cheryl's in the front seat, I'm in the back. And first, here we go, up in the air. First thing on the left, we're going to see Faye's and Carrie's pickup truck with Faye inside. She's been with us for a couple of hours now as we've tried to catch the ferry across. We're looking now at the road between Queen Charlotte and Skidegate on Graham Island. There's Cheryl up front with her pink parka. The pilot, Jerry. You can see all the instruments look pink because they're reflecting Cheryl's parka. Looks kind of nice. And off in the distance there is the point at where the Kai Center is. We're here because BC Ferries wouldn't take the ferry across. They said it was too rough. And we can see the water beneath us. Now there are no whitecaps. The winds, I guess, might have been 15 knots, maybe 20. In just a second we're going to have a look into Skidegate Landing. Looking down at the ferry dock at Skidegate Landing. Nice calm water in the bay there, of course. There's the Esso fuel place with a dock where you can get fuel in your boat. You don't mind crawling up a ladder and grabbing a hose. And there's the Kai Center, or the point at least where the Kai Center is. We can't actually see it. It's tucked around in the base of that cove. Big longhouses and half a dozen totem poles, canoes. It's really a pretty interesting place. Closed between Christmas and New Year's, so we still haven't seen inside. So now we're getting a look up the edge of the Hecate Strait. On the left-hand side, you can see the bay where Skidegate Village is, stretching along the beach there. And now kind of the open waters of Hecate Strait as they run in. You can see no whitecaps, a bit of a swell. Scanning around through the cockpit, looking now to the right over South Moresby Island. You can see the swell on the water, but no whitecaps. Looking back now into the Narrows, over towards Alfred Bay where the ferry would land, or where it's hiding now in Alfred Bay. That's a good time to talk about how BC Ferries got us into this spot. The regular ferry, the Kuna, which can handle the conditions in Haida, Gwaii, was out for its annual refit starting 1st of November. It's supposed to be back end of November, but there were problems and delays. And so it's still not back in service here on the 31st of December. So they replaced it with a barge and a ramp and a big tugboat, which could handle a barge in almost as severe conditions as the Kuna could take getting across. Until a few days ago, when they replaced the big tug with a smaller tug that can't manage it in anything above about 15 knots. And I guess they didn't realize that. When we arrived at the ferry landing, the crew was out with the ferry with no passengers and no cars, trying to see how it would work. And in fact, it did work well enough. They could get all the way over to Alfred Bay, where eventually they radioed back to the poor beleaguered woman in the ticket booth at BC Ferries and told them that they weren't coming back and there wouldn't be a ferry to the airport. And it left all of us who were waiting there to get to the plane scrambling for alternative ways to get over. So it wasn't a very good situation. They could have done a lot better on the communications front, let us know a couple of hours before, so we could have arranged, a more reasonable way to do it rather than spending $400 per trip for this helicopter. Some people were able to get in touch with Moresby Explorers and have an open-air Zodiac ride. You can see the wake in this shot of the Moresby Explorers boat heading back from the airport with passengers from Vancouver. Once they got over there with some of the people who were trying to get to the plane, they just waited and picked up another load and brought them back. So we were on the fourth and final helicopter trip. We had another fellow lined up to go with us. so it would have cut the cost down quite a bit. But at the very last minute, too late for him to do anything else, they told him his skis wouldn't fit. There was no way they could put his skis in. So he was frustrated, and he just hopped in his car and drove away. I don't know what became of his ski vacation, but hopefully he was able to make some other arrangements. Anyway, looking ahead, that's a Sandspit marina that we're just about to fly over there, and place where we stayed in Sovereign in 2005 for quite a few days, waiting for the weather to clear to get around and head south down to South Moresby. It's a beautiful marina, very protected, but when you're inside, you feel like you're in a gray stone dungeon. You can't see a thing because of the big, safe breakwater walls. We're flying over part of the village of Sandspit now. There's a couple of logging companies have offices here. There's some crab pot storage for the crab fishermen in Hackett Strait. That's a logging outfit office there. We just flew past. Pretty beach. We walked all through this area in 2005 when we were a few days at the marina. That marina in those days was the only place you could get fuel for the boat, so we got to know it and the operator quite well. More shots of the village of Sandspit. Getting closer to the airport now. It's out here on the clear area out on the point, and you can begin to see the runway. It runs from left to right in this view. We're going to swing over the government dock where Faye and Carrie picked us up in their boat a few days before. A beautiful sunny day, and we got a nice boat ride from here back to the launching ramp right by the helipad where we just took off. So we're swinging around now. You can see our plane waiting for us, the Dash 8. Air Canada was very gracious to hold it for us. And for just a minute here, we felt like real jet setters swooping in our helicopter. The plane waiting, staff all eagerly waiting our arrival so they could whisk us through and onto the plane and get us on our way to Vancouver. Didn't last long, but it was nice for a minute or two there. And we had it was a great helicopter trip. Anyway, that's it. Happy New Year, everybody.